There are many successful people who have benefited from their failures, their past experience. So, therefore, sometimes it's about the will and not the skill. Of course, you need to grow your skill, develop your skill, become more experienced, more efficient. But a lot of times it comes from the will to keep going, the will to carry on against all odds, the power to stay on track when everyone says it's going to fail. So sometimes it takes the will. And how do you develop the will? Because there's a lot of people, most times it's about developing from your experience and readjusting yourself to become successful. It's not actually about hitting it in one go. There's very few people that has made it in one go. So there's a lot of trial and failures, a lot of ups and downs, but having the capacity to stick to it, that's what differentiates a lot of winners from losers. They say a lot of people give into not knowing how close they are to their dream. Maybe one more step, maybe two more steps. Sometimes it's just that ability to stay on track, to keep pushing, to wake up and say, this are what I've got to do today, and I'm not going to stop until it's conquered, until I've achieved it. And sometimes just setting those kind of, those kind of goals for yourself. Like the long time game. Like it's not like I'm gonna make it today, but if I keep doing what I'm doing like this every day, just little by little, I'm gonna be inching closer. I'm gonna develop. I'm gonna learn. From my experience, from other people's experience, I'm gonna get better, and thereby repositioning myself, redefining myself, reshaping myself to pick up that opportunity when it comes. There's very few people who make it at the first goal, the first strike. Imagine just you turning up to your exam without practicing and just passing your exam, or without just turning to exam without having been to a year of practicing, learning, and having tutors, classes, lectures. Just imagine that. And that's what it's most time like. You're just trying to make something from nothing. There's always a process. Everyone that's made it, they've gone through a process. They've developed their skill. They've lost, they've won. There's always ups and downs. But what separates those who actually eventually make it is the ability to overlook the failures and carry on until they get to the destination. Jim Rohn says until. It's like you're going somewhere, and every time you come to a stop, or every time your car breaks down, you stop, and that's your destination. No, that's not your destination. You're trying to fix your car, and then you carry on. Why? Because you've got a destination in mind. You've got somewhere you're trying to get to. You don't just pack up and make your home wherever your car breaks down. No, you've got a place to go. And we should all have that same set of goals in our mind. We've got what we're planning to do, what we're doing, what we're building to. We mustn't stop until we get there. You shouldn't just, accept whatever comes. No. Learn from it. How can you use it to refine yourself? Both your failures and your successes. A lot of people learn from their, successes, but they never take time to say, okay, what can I do better from my failures? And if we could take that time to learn from our failures, I tell you, we could become so much better. Learning from our own mistakes. And one thing you must understand, it's not really actually about the ability. So many people have so much ability, you hear this every time, so talented. There are so many people very, very skillful, very, very talented. But what differentiates us is the ability to do, the will to do. Not even just the skill, the will to go through failures and bounce back. You hear that when they say having that bounceability. So it's not actually like, of course, a lot of people are skillful, but once they come to When you go for a run, they say you've hit a wall, like you run a marathon. When they hit that wall, they give in, they pack up, they stop. That's like their bus stop. But a lot of people will push through that. So what differentiates a lot of us? It's that will to push through. It's the will to keep going, even when we feel pain, even when we feel pressure, even when we're scared, even when we're being criticized, even when we don't know where we're going to end up. The will to keep going. And how do you get that? By having a goal and knowing this is my destination. I'm not going to stop for any other thing until I get to my destination. And that's what separates us sometimes. Because there's a lot of people with so many skills. You see them a lot of time. Musicians, athletes, but then we don't even talk about academics and people who work in offices. Because there are a lot of people who just turn up and do their daily, they just show up, and the other people go the extra mile. So when promotion comes, who do you think they're gonna go for? The person who just turns up and does the minimum, or the person who go the extra mile? I know a person who's been growing so much in the last 6 months. She's become a manager, and people always say, how did you do it? Because she goes extra mile every single day. And that's more than ability. You have to have the ability, of course. You have to have the skill. Because if you're in a competition with the same person who you have exactly the same skill, the same everything, what differentiates you from that person is the will. Ability is plentiful. There's a lot of skillful people out there, but the will to carry on when you have a knockdown, the will to carry on when nothing is going your way, the will to carry on when you applied for 1,000 jobs and you've gotten no, the will to carry on when you've applied for 1,000 roles, you've gotten no, the will to carry on when someone says, look at you, look at where you came from, you can't, what are you doing here, you don't belong here, the will to carry on. That's what differentiates the successful from the everyday people. And don't think those who just turn up and do the minimum, they are very skillful. But you can't get to the top by just doing the minimum. You can't get to the top by just doing your regular 9 to 5. You can't get to the top by just being ordinary. In this world, people celebrate the super. And those super have nothing different from you but just the will. They have ability plentiful, but they have even a stronger will. And that's why they keep pushing till they get to the top, regardless of the consequence, regardless of the outcome, regardless of the ups and downs, regardless of the failure, regardless of the success. They go again and again. They say Kobe Bryant practices immediately after a match. Immediately after a match, he goes on, spends 3 hours on the court. And that's why he is exceptional. Of course, he's skillful, but the will to become perfect, the will to push on until, that's what separates him from other players. Everyone that has succeeded that I know, they've got that I will do ability. And then a stronger will that I must do. This separates us from the ordinary. I will do. It's the will to concentrate on one thing. They say in life, we're all about discipline. We're all about sacrifice. And when you go to school, whatever you do, there is a discipline. What's the discipline? Discipline says you are focusing in one area in sacrifice of other area. So you giving that area your 100%. So that what differentiates you from other people is the ability to say, I will do. Regardless of the outcome, I will do. To focus all your energy in one area. That's what separates you from an average person. There's a lot of people going about not achieving the goal, not reaching, not even having a goal, not achieving anything in life. Always waiting for someone to come and help, someone to come and change their lives. But what you have to understand is like every single person must solve their own problem. Every single person must fix their own self. There's no one that is going to come and help you. Like once you start understanding, like, look, it is you and you alone. You and you alone. It is your business. Your life is your business. It is on you to fix this. It's no other person's business. Once you stop relying on people to change your life, once you stop relying on people to get you from A to B, once you stop relying on people to make an impact, once you stop putting people's opinion over yourself, when you start understanding that only your own opinion counts based on where you're trying to go, then you are ready to make that choice in your life to go and be what you need to be, to head where you need to head. Regardless of what you've been told, everyone's single most important thought is about self-preservation. And now, what's self-preservation? Self-preservation is the ability of trying to keep yourself alive. How do you survive? That's what human thinks about. Even animal, that's how do I survive? That's the first thing. Do I need to eat? Do I need to run from danger? Do I need a shelter? That's the first thing human thinks about. But if you think someone else is going to put your own self-preservation above themselves, that's where you're going wrong. That's where you're making the mistake. You're only going to get left over. You're only going to get left over. It's like you trying to say, look, I put my hands out, the world should feed me. You're only going to get scraps. Every person I know who has become successful, they have gone out and they've taken. You cannot become successful on waiting. No one stumbles onto success. It is impossible. It doesn't happen. Even take, for instance, 90% of those who've won lottery, they've become broke within a year or so, or they've died because they haven't built up the process of success. They don't know how to manage it. They don't understand it. It just comes, they only have the understanding of spending. And that's why you must spend your time learning how to concentrate, how to grow. Set a goal, regardless of how small it is. Set a goal. Work towards something. Become your own person. Only you can lift yourself out. There's so many examples of people who've lifted themselves out from poverty. They lifted themselves out. Listen to that. They trained themselves, developed the skill, but most of all, they had the will to keep going. Especially if you're coming from nothing, it's even going to be even a lot more difficult to go where you're going. So without the will, nothing else. For you to go get the skill, you need the will. For you to develop yourself, you need the will. Because you're going to get into a lot of places where you don't even feel like you should be there. You're going to feel like an imposter. But knowing that, look, I am going to pick up whatever I've come here for, regardless of, that's what separates you from the ordinary. Because the ordinary would run at the first. They say it's not like those who succeed. It's not because they lack fears. Anyone who lacks fear, it's stupid. But they succeed in spite of it. You know, this is scary. Regardless of this, I must get to my destination. That's what brings success. Having precaution, but going against it, that's what brings precaution. So I'm going around again just to say, if you putting your hands out and hoping that someone else is going to come change your life, you are going to spend the rest of your life doing that. It's simple. Everyone who preaches to you, regardless of whatever they say to you, the first thing that comes to them is self-interest. How do you benefit them? How are they going to? We as a human will value. We're tool. Everyone thinks about you as a tool. How are you going to benefit them? How are they going to utilize you to get to their own goal? So when you go through life putting your hands out, you're only wishing, you're only hoping. But what are you wishing and hoping on? If I have some skill, I work towards something, I'm working towards something every day, I'm developing myself, then I can wish and hope that through the efforts of my hand, and even in the Bible says, through the efforts of your hand, through your labor, you're going to get where you need to go through your labor. If I'm working and I'm putting things out, I'm hoping that someone is going to pick it up because I'm putting something out there, and I'm hoping. But I can't fold my hands in my house and do nothing and just hope that someone is going to come knock on my door. They say opportunities never seek anyone, no one. But you have to go out and seek opportunity. And you might come across it not knowing, but at least with experience, you're going to know when to take it. Opportunity doesn't come knocking on your door. And that's the mistake a lot of us make, by folding our hands and wishing and hoping that it's going to come knock on our door, then it's going to be our turn. It's hardly. Opportunity is like, this guy is not ready, I'm going to the next person who's standing out. So focus on yourself, work on yourself, improve on yourself, develop on yourself. If it's skill you need, go get it. Whatever you need, go get it. The thing I want you to understand is that life is all about learning. Life is all about skill. But what's stronger than that is the will. If there's anything that anyone knows, it's a skill. If it's a skill, it could be taught. If it could be taught, you could learn it. If you could learn it, you could have it. If you could have it, you could become whoever you want to be.